Chinese tourists screaming on mountain. You've just got to be prepared for people. Do you know why we're not as blown away? Because it's incredibly noisy. I don't want to do anything. It's too much.
いつも中国が大好きだったというカップル YouTuber がいます。彼らは大きな期待を胸に中国へ旅行に出発します。周囲に止められたものの、彼らは長年夢見ていた旅行をするために中国へ飛び立ちました。
We are going to China. We're in our first Chinese restaurant.
Just have a bite.
中国到着して最初の食事をしたとき、何か違和感を覚えます。期待していた料理とは程遠いものでした。おかしかったのはこれだけではありません。道を歩いても、どこへ行っても、人々が自分たちを露骨にじろじろ見てきます。
The only thing that's strange for me is that we are getting stared at.
居心地の悪さを感じ、朝早くから行動を始めることにします。
I'm getting a bit tired of early mornings. We've had a lot of them here in China, but unfortunately, due to the crowds, most of the time for distractions, you gotta get up early to beat the crowds, and every single time.
しかし無駄でした。C 国にはいつどこでも常に大勢の人で溢れており、彼らは常に遠巻きに観光地を眺めることしかできませんでした。
Not see anything.
Oh. This is crazy busy. We're just gonna have to squeeze our way through. I have just been shoved with elbows, like in my waist, shoved to try and get a main viewpoint. I don't know if the other pits will be probably the most hellish tourist site I've ever been to so far. So far.
カップルは念願だった張家界に行くことにします。夢にまで見た瞬間なので皆ワクワクしていましたが、ここでも何か違和感を覚えることになります。
I gotta say, it's pretty sick, but we're not as blown away as we thought we'd be.
But do you know why we're not as blown away? Because it's incredibly noisy. There's so many people.
It's just insane.
You've just got to be prepared for people. The noise thing got to me today. I think Mount Hua was big enough that it didn't really impact it, but this was
It's tough.
tough, yeah. All right. Chinese tourists screaming on mountains when it should be a very insular experience. I just thought that was so interesting. Us Europeans would go to a mountain for solitude, and maybe that speaks to the history here of communism. We're at the hot pot restaurant, and I noticed as soon as I walked in I couldn't really breathe properly, and it's because everyone is smoking cigarettes. I don't understand how this is still a thing. I'm burnt out and I don't want to do anything. It's too much.
結局 YouTuber はこの全てに耐えきれず心が折れてしまいます。中国に長く滞在した外国人たちが自身の経験を共有します。この YouTuber は中国で10年以上暮らした元中国大使館職員です。
And you're going to struggle in China is the culture. It's saving face, even being dishonest to cover your own back or to get out of social engagements. This is very unusual for Europeans and especially people like Germans who are extremely direct and frank. The idea that you can just lie and be dishonest to cover yourself or to get out of an arrangement is something very unusual. And just on every level, the culture in China is extremely different. It's more of a conformist society. There's more emphasis on the collective rather than the individual. Stare at people, invade their personal space, and even pick up items out of their shopping trolley. I've experienced all of these things. And you're really going to struggle to live in China. And this is kind of one of the big reasons why I don't anymore, is the annoying habits of Chinese people. And this is tied into the point about cultural differences, but it can just be quite wearing. I was there for 10 years and it just starts to wear on your nerves when people are extremely loud, they spit, they let their kids pee in trash cans or on the street, they don't queue, there's pushing, you know, old grannies will barge you out of the way at a roadside food stall. It's just a bit basic, some of the behavior, some of the habits.
Everyone smokes and they smoke inside. That was shocking to me. I'm from London. I live in New York. I'm not one who's shy or disturbed or annoyed by cigarette smoke. Like, that is the life in New York. I have smoked cigarettes. Like, I'm not bothered by cigarette smoke. But I was flabbergasted at how much people were smoking, but most importantly that people were smoking inside. Like, even I was in a hotel and my hotel room was like non-smoking, and I think my hotel room floor was non-smoking, but I would still see cigarette butts like on the floor inside the hotel, which was crazy to me in like performances. I went to go see this like live performance and there were people just smoking inside during the live performance, in the lobby of restaurants. It happens everywhere.
In China, people are still allowed to smoke indoor. They smoke in restaurants. How many times did I see cigarettes under my table? They smoke inside some trains. I had to move to another part of the train when I went to Zhangjiajie because some people were smoking. Taxi drivers sometimes smokes too. And I heard some people smoke in their houses. That one I don't care, it's your house, you do you. I don't think I would have survived. Fun fact that kind of surprised me when I came to China. Making the line is sometimes kind of abstract to some people here, especially for old people. They just love to cut the line. And I noticed that if one person cuts the line, a lot of people are just going to follow the movement and do the same, which easily turns to something quite chaotic. Before coming here, I had this idea of Chinese people being into collectivism, like, okay, we're all in this together, let's make things easy for everyone. But in public space, that's where the so-called individualism comes up. It's more like me first and everyone for themselves. It's kind of same on the road, actually.
What was your first culture shock when you came to China?
Probably the spitting, because like in my first city in Cebu, we used to ride a lot of the e-bikes, so I did get spit on my foot a couple of times about like just people riding their bike and like casually like spitting. And
everywhere you go, people will take pictures, they'll take videos, they will touch your hair, they will touch your skin, because it's probably the first time that they're seeing a black person. Stupid. We don't flush toilet paper. Even if you poo, you don't flush. You just throw it in the bin, which is disgusting. Oh, as you flush, oh, we don't flush. You just, when you finish, you just put it in the trash can. Disgusting.
中国旅行であまりにも大きな失望を味わったカップル YouTuber は、アジア旅行を諦めようとしましたが、すでに購入済みの航空券があったため、仕方なく予定通り日本にやってきました。
Our minds shifted to stillness. It was actually a very special experience and one that Tim and I won't forget. We're in downtown Kyoto, and it is one of the most magical places we've both ever been, I think. Would you agree?
It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, it's just incredible to get a glimpse of what historic Japan might have looked like. I don't know if you can make out, but on the other side of the bank are historic looking wooden houses framed by the sakura, and I honestly can't really believe it. I am so excited. We have arrived at a traditional ryokan. We've just got back from an evening onsen and now we are ready for bed in our traditional ryokan. We're on our futons on the floor and it is surprisingly comfortable.
It's very nice.
カップルは中国旅行中ずっと食事に悩まされ続け、日本での食事はどうかと期待します。
So we're going to bring him along to this experience and see if Kobe beef is worth the hype, but more importantly, this is Japanese wagyu with garlic and wasabi. Oh my god. No, I can't. That's so good. That's amazing.
Yeah?
You have to try that.
Wow, it just melts. Like it
Yeah.
dissolves. Wow.
Oh my god.
It was actually absolutely incredible. I'm really glad we tried it. We spent a lot of money, but it was worth it. What are we doing in Fukuoka? Why did we go there actually? What was the recommendation?
Ramen.
The birthplace of ramen.
Bon appetit.
Each year in Fukuoka, Excellent. Absolutely excellent. We both agree. We both loved our ramen. Best ramen we've had in Japan so far.
映像を通して食事を楽しめて本当に良かったと繰り返し語ります。
We are here at Himeji Castle and it is nothing short of spectacular. Behind me you can see the original castle, which mostly dates to around 1601 to 1609. The most amazing fact is that this castle has survived earthquakes, wars, and also extensive bombing of World War II, which actually destroyed most of this that you can see. Definitely worth a visit.
We just found out that actually castles like the Nijojo castle here behind me have not relied on any mortar or other adhesives to build their stone walls. It's actually all just dry stone. It's built using a technique called ishigaki. The rest is literally just stones on a brick wall stuck together. Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
元中国大使館職員だった男性は日本で3年間暮らして自分が感じた違いを語ってくれます。
The first thing I noticed after moving to Japan was the incredible level of politeness. And I had always thought of the UK as a polite country, but the Japanese take things to an absolutely whole new level. My mum came over to visit and she was in a wheelchair, and on many occasions people just went out of their way to help her. We went into a Starbucks and the girl came from behind the till. She ran out, opened the door, helped me get my mum inside. And this is just one of many instances where people are incredibly polite in Japan. I always saw the UK as a polite country before, but after coming back from Japan, this had changed because they had set the bar to a completely new level. The second amazing thing about Japan is the degree of service. It doesn't matter if you're in a McDonald's, if you're in a Starbucks, if you're in a public toilet, wherever you may be, the people working there take pride in their jobs, take their work very seriously, give you incredible service. And this really puts the UK to shame. When you come back to the UK, people don't seem to enjoy their jobs. They're badly presented. They don't have any enthusiasm. And especially in the service industry, they give you a very bad customer service experience. So in Japan, this was amazing. The level of service is truly excellent, and it kind of puts the UK to shame by comparison. The third point, which is somewhat related, is the Japanese work ethic. And you see this across all sectors and areas, as I said, whether it's in the service industry, even in McDonald's, or whether it's with tradesmen, skilled manual laborers, in companies, wherever you are, there is just an intense work ethic, and it's very impressive. And by comparison, the UK looks pretty slovenly. The UK work ethic looks very weak compared to Japan. And that's not really a criticism of the UK in some ways, because to be honest, apart from maybe Germany, pretty much anywhere in the world is going to look like it has a pretty slovenly work ethic compared to Japan. The fourth point is somewhat related to the last, and that is the level of discipline in Japan. People are extremely disciplined, and you see this even with little children walking to school in winter in shorts. They wear shorts all year round. They are tough. There is a level of toughness in the country, and it is impressive. And this goes throughout the whole society, and it comes across in some of the areas that I also talked about, like the service industry and stuff. People are well presented, well turned out. They have standards. It's related to a high level of standards across the country, and that goes for personal presentation, personal hygiene, how people conduct themselves. There is a high standard across the country, and also it's interlinked with this high level of personal discipline, which I very much respect. And by comparison, the UK most definitely is not disciplined. It is pampered. It is spoiled by a government which gives out a lot of benefits. It looks weak, unhealthy, badly presented, slovenly. So I really think the level of discipline that they have in Japan is something that's very admirable. The fifth striking comparison between the UK and Japan is the level of safety. I went to Tokyo on my first trip to Japan, and I saw all these cell phones on the table in Starbucks, and I didn't understand what that was about. I couldn't understand why people wouldn't just be snatching them up and running off with them like they would do probably in London. And it was people were putting down their cell phones to actually hold their place while they went up to get their drink. So people were using cell phones as placeholders, even in the capital city, in Tokyo. So this is kind of an incredible eye-opener for me. And the level of personal safety in Japan is really amazing. The sixth comparison is to do with cleanliness, and this is related again to levels of standard, discipline, work ethic, all that kind of stuff. Cleanliness in Japan is incredible. I would get up in the morning and go for a run to the gym, and I would see people up at 5, 6 a.m. hosing down the pavements outside their shops and their apartments, cleaning the pavements, cleaning the sidewalks. and just keeping the place very tidy. You would often see older people weeding public hedgerows and green areas, cleaning out ditches. It's all linked to this level of social cohesion and discipline and personal standards, and it just makes the place extremely clean, very well maintained, and it makes it a pleasure to be there. And by comparison, the UK looks like an absolute dump, especially recently, where councils are not giving money to even cut hedgerows or collect garbage. This makes it even more striking, the comparison between the UK and Japan in terms of cleanliness, whether you're talking about public toilets, even restaurants, whatever it is. The UK looks grubby and dirty to many countries by comparison, but even more so to Japan, which is probably the cleanest country in the world and has the highest standards for cleanliness.
中国のネット民に日本と中国どっちがいいって聞かれて
China or who? Who? Of course China. 加油中国 The US or what? What? I don't recognize that country. Of course China. Korea or who? Who? Of course China.
以后啊，日本有事就是日本有事，你呀只有2件事，不是没事找事，就是瞎折腾挑事儿。嗨 ，Hello， 大家好，我是米莎。一个活在女人身上的民族，哪儿来的优越感和自信呢？今天我们来聊聊日本的发家史。日本发家有3宝：侵略、妓女和洗脑。这第一块黑暗基石呢，便是妓女产业。这绝非是无的放矢，从松下、山口、井上、渡边这些常见的姓氏中，便能窥见到历史的遗留和产业的印记。接下来咱就说一说这个民族为什么是从女人身上站起来的。明治维新后，日本急于发展工业，却面临的是资源匮乏。欧洲列强早就把海外的地盘给瓜分了，扩张无门，又缺钱进口石油、橡胶等工业原料，于是日本就开启了全民洗脑。而男性的洗脑方式便是从军征战，女性则被灌输身体属于天皇的理念，必须为国家创造价值。早在19世纪60年代，日本表面上取缔私娼，实则将其国营化，把这一切暴利行业变成国家创汇的工具。为了赚取外汇支撑自己的工业与军国主义，日本将女性作为文化输出的筹码，大批量的日本女性被送往了东南亚、中国乃至非洲，成为了南洋姐。他们中不乏被诱骗，却在为天皇挣钱的洗脑下拼命的劳作。1902年，其外汇与现金带回总额高达1200万日元，列居日本出口创收的第5名。这些女性既是日本海外扩张的先驱，却被在国内骂成了丑耶妇，遭极致的羞辱与背叛。1893年，伊藤博文内阁发布禁止令，禁止丑耶妇赴南洋。这里有意思的来了，特意将中国和朝鲜这2个地方排除在外，让他们以这2个地方为跳板，继续开拓市场。而这个行业在1921年日内瓦贩卖妇女儿童条约签署了以后，加上这个产业在日本的总创收比额持续下降的过程当中，日本才顺势的推行了废娼制度。推行了废娼制度以后呢，这些为日本天皇鞠躬尽瘁的女性大部分都客死他乡，然后他们又拍了一部电影叫做《望乡》，而大部分客死他乡的这些南洋姐的墓碑最终还是背向了日本，用无声来控诉他们的天皇。接下来呢，非常搞笑的事情就发生了。2战以后呢，日本的经济非常的萧条，为了讨好他们的美国爹，给美国的大兵设置了慰安所，为了赚取更多的外汇。此后一系列的黑暗产业逐渐的风生水起。而日本人没有想到的是，这些美国大兵在日本是有服役期限的，当他们服役期限够了以后，他们就会重返他们自己的家园，而这个时候就留下了很多黑皮的日本人。而这些为美国大兵生下孩子的女性呢，更是惨烈，遭日本社会的唾弃。这些女性为美国大兵生下孩子后，也没有人愿意跟他们再去结婚，所以日本又推行了新的风俗产业。此后，日本把这黑暗的产业做的是风生水起，甚至把这个产业做到了1000亿级的赛道。这些产业至今在日本社会潜伏，日本表面彬彬有礼，但其发家史是以女性的尊严作为代价积攒原始资金，早已经刻下难以抹去的黑暗与虚伪。如果一个民族连道德底线都没有，还需要留什么脸面？难道爷爷打孙子还要问能不能动手？何况是真孙子。
いや、本当にすごい中国語ですね。電話で話したら中国人か外国人かわからないレベルですよ。中国語はさておき、まあ本人の意見なので尊重はします。ただ、ある程まともなはなしであってこそ怒りも湧くものですが、ここまで来ても笑うしかないですね。中国文明がアジア全体の古代文化の形成に影響を与えたことは否定できません。しかし、 影響を受けたという事実と、それを上位文化として認めることは全く別の問題です。中国文明が起源になっただけであって、日本文化の基準として機能しているわけではありませんからね。日本の博物館が中国の文化財を大切に扱うのは文明への敬意であって、自己卑下ではありません。これを自己卑下と解釈するなんて、あまりにも荒唐無稽で呆れて物も言えないですね。似たような例を挙げると、古代ローマはギリシャ文明から多大な影響を受けました。だから現代イタリアもギリシャ文明を尊重しています。でも、だからといってイタリアが現代ギリシャを自分たちより上の国だとみなすでしょうか。そんなわけないですよね。日本も同じです。古代中国文明を尊重することと、現代中国を文化的上位者として認識することは全く次元も違う話です。学術的敬意と心理的劣等感を混同するのはおかしいですし、そもそも日本人が中国に劣等感を抱いているなんて、存在しない感情を語っているようなものです。正直なところ、日本社会で中国に対して一番よくある感情は、畏敬でも劣等感でもなく、距離感と無関心ではないでしょうか。ところで、なぜこの外国人たちはこんなに日本を嫌って、こういう動画を撮ってアップするんでしょうか。はい、そうです。愛国心を利用した再生数稼ぎですね。中国人が日本を叩く動画を上げるだけでもものすごい再生数が稼げるのに、外国人が、しかも中国語も大して話せないのに日本を叩いて、中国が最高だなんて言ったら、いいねも登録もせずにはいられないでしょう。こういう外国人たちはホワイトモンキーと呼ばれています。その中で有名な中国の TikToker が一人いるんですが、この TikToker を有名にしたのはやっぱり日本旅行の動画でした。
我来到日本之前，认为日本是全世界最有礼貌的国家。我一到日本就发现完全不是这样子，我一到机场就想回家。
OK， 这里买 SIM 卡没有人给你买，所以你要自己买。我搞不懂，试一下。
研究了很久，怎么自己买？最终还是决定寻求一下工作人员帮助。此时博主正在寻找询问处。
怎么会这样子？这么没人，那我怎么办啊？
于是我想找其他工作人员询问一下。
Hello, can I ask? I want to go here. Here.
A train. Please go to Terminal 2, not here.
A train and
Skyliner is train.
I have to walk.
Yes. No. Bus gate number 2. Free shuttle bus.
Shuttle bus 2.
Yes.
And can I change money? I want to buy SIM card, but I don't have small ones.
It's also next counter, please. Next terminal. Terminal 2.
There?
Not here.
In Terminal 2, I can change money.
Terminal 2, please.
I can buy SIM card.
But I'm not sure. It's also maybe all finished.
But I want to buy here.
Store
But
is all finished.
I want to buy here, but I don't have small money.
No. Sorry. It's also railway station, please.
Why I cannot buy here?
Using.
I cannot change money?
I'm sorry.
Why?
Not using.
It's from here.
It's also no change. It's also free shuttle bus. No charge. Free shuttle bus.
I want to buy SIM card.
Not here. SIM card is Terminal 2.
我是9点到这里，买 SIM 卡的地方下班了 ，information 下班了，我卡在机场，不知道要去哪儿。Fuck， 完蛋了，兄弟们，我要睡机场了。Information 没有帮我买到了 SIM 卡，但是我 SIM 卡没办法用，然后我没办法连接这里的网络，所以我唯一的一个办法就是坐滴滴去酒店。
前後の事情を知らずにこの場面だけ見たら、日本のサービス精神のない店員が些細な要求すら聞いてくれないと叩かれるかもしれません。しかし、あの窓口は無料シャトルバスの案内窓口であって、決済やお金のやり取りをする場所ではありません。そして悪質なことに、日本人スタッフは、ノー、ソーリーと言っただけなのに、字幕にはあなた、私にこれ以上聞かないでと書いてあるんですよ。言ってもいないことを書くなんて、本当に悪質ですね。
什么？33000不是150块钱，是1500，这还比我买的去东京的机票贵。伙计们，我睡贵了。
你们能相信吗？小日本的国民料理居然是煎饼，那我得尝一下煎饼的天花板。
咦，要排队。哎呀，还是有做菜的服务。我还
以为他给我钱，没想到自己来。70块的甜饼。还行，小马甲吐槽了，但是最后，这个是我在日本吃过最好吃的菜。嗨，我没吃完，酒我喝完了。我操，好臭！味道好混啊！日本干净，这个是干净啊！你看这里。这里是透透的垃圾桶，怎么可能？日本一直说全世界最干净的国家，它市中心居然是这样子，你们被骗了。可能以前日本是世界上最干净的国家，不是人家说在日本看不到任何垃圾，那这个是啥？全是垃圾。而且这个是大城市，这个是大阪。就像杭州，你跟我说杭州的市中心这么脏，不可能。杭州市中心比这个干净多了。这真的是日本吗？这是日本还是韩国？怎么一出来就是一大堆垃圾？可能是我对日本期待太高了，但是真的不如新加坡。这么离谱！我住我的酒店4个晚上，我每天得11点退房，3点才能回来。日本酒店，你要累死我吗？而且你退房那一天，你不能把行李箱留在前台，你得拿走。这连欧洲都没有这么落后。日本的酒店真的贵死我了。我一个人出去玩，我只买得起胶囊酒店。那现在我带你们去看看我的胶囊酒店怎么样。
我们感谢大家入住我们的酒店。此公告面向所有人。我们要求每个人都在11点退房，并且不允许延长。即使入住超过1晚的客人，也请在3点退房，并再次入住。
这里是公共区域，有很多漫画还放着动漫，不过在这里的都是男生。
日本就是对女性不公平，我们酒店也有桑拿，只有男生可以用，而且住女的房间比住男的房间要贵1000块钱。
カプセルホテルに泊まったことがある方、いらっしゃいますかね。カプセルホテルは通常10時から12時の間にチェックアウトして15時に再入室するのが基本です。清掃と部屋の準備のための時間ですね。そして荷物預かりとロッカーを提供しているホテルがほとんどです。こうやってぐちぐち文句を言っているのが本当かどうかはわかりませんが、不便だったならまあお気の毒に。
你能明白吗？我在新宿延吉不了网络，我是在旅客中心买了12天的 SIM 卡。你们知道我现在是怎么导航吗？我每次迷路我就走到附近的便利店，然后连接免费 WiFi， 这样我才能导航。其他人的真是日本体验。哎呀，我要买这个，我要买那个。我的日本体验，这里有没有免费 WiFi？ 这里有没有免费 WiFi？ 现在我们来试试日本晚上安不安全，所以我现在独自一个人出去玩。我来了4个为了拍大家的打扮，但是这里禁止喝酒，甚至禁止 party。日本宅男也太失控了！我刚才问一个日本男的帮我怎么去签，然后他就发抖不说话。后来我后面那个叔叔，这个叔叔帮助我，因为他看到那个男的在发抖。我这几天不知道一件事情，就是我问了很多次路，日本男的就怕我，不跟我说话。我这么恐怖吗？我在日本吃过最便宜的菜，只要40块钱。这个是有名的日本荞麦面，买了最便宜的，没有肉，没有虾，啥都没有，最传统的，最便宜。这居然是凉的，我在外面要冻死，现在是秋天，你跟我说我点了凉的菜，这个人的味道像我小时候的食盐，没有盐，没有任何调料。我需要4川辣椒。我觉得日本人太神奇了，连这个都没有味道。反正去年的菜就这样子，不甜不酸不辣。
不行。在中国晚上最担心就是你会发胖。我在日本害怕量太小了，吃不饱，又不想吃了。我朋友告诉我，在日本晚上出门要小心，因为在酒吧旁边会有很多小姐姐会叫你进去。但是今天我真的分不清哪一个是小姐姐，哪一个是正常人。看我干嘛？我好像最像这里的小姐姐。一个冰男的在拍我。
中国にどれくらい住んでいて、何がきっかけでこうなったのかはわかりませんが、人気のために日本を叩いてそれで金を稼ぐというこの行為は本当に情けないですね。結局彼らにとって日本も中国もただの再生数を稼ぐための道具でしかないわけですから、こんなにいい中国があるのに、なんでわざわざ海外旅行に行くんでしょうかね。
原来进去寺庙要买票，我不是手比扣子，但是我真的不买了，我觉得外面看足够了。这里有非常多美女穿和服，这也太普通了，只有我一个人穿旗袍。
この動画を編集していて、興味深い現象を発見しました。なぜC国の人たちは、海外の文化遺産や観光地を訪れる際に、自国の伝統衣装を着るのでしょうか。普段の生活では不便だと言って着ようともしないのに、一体何をアピールしたいのでしょうか。
人这么多，我就快要晕倒。小马甲，你真的是大眼中。你花了1000多块钱买机票去日本，为了看在你杭州老家一模一样的竹子森林。
今回は京都の史跡に来ましたが、わざわざ入場料を払って入る価値はないとのことです。現在中国で流行している全部中国のものという歌を最後に。
老叔，我们一起来吧，来跟我一起喊4个大字：中国万岁！中国万岁！万岁如 say to me， 万岁嘎如 say to me， 万岁嘎如 say to me， 1 2 3 go。美国是中国的，法国是中国的，俄罗斯是中国的，日本是中国的，日本是中国的，加拿大是中国的，钓鱼岛是中国的，日本鬼子爆米花永远是中国的，中国的中国的。美国是中国的，法国是中国的，加拿大是中国的，泰国是中国的，缅甸是中国的，德国是中国的，韩国是中国的，埃及是中国的，钓鱼岛是中国的，日本是中国的，日本是中国的，我日本是中国的。
China is the best country in the entire world. I love China so much. First off, Mandarin is amazing. Second off, the Chinese Communist Party. Yes, communist is the best government in the entire world. Most transparent government in the entire world. The cuisine is amazing. The Great Wall of China is the best tourist destination in the entire world. So much history in China. China, I love China so much.
本当に中国を愛する外国人たちみたいですね。こういう映像が上がると、爆発的な再生数は当たり前。コメントが数百、数千とつきます。それで今回は、ある中国人 YouTuber がイギリスの街頭で、大国の威厳を誇示しようと、とてもシンプルな質問をします。
If you guys hoop on plan to visit any Asian country, which one would it be?
I would probably say Japan, because it's got a very vibrant nightlife. But you?
Probably say the same.
Definitely on my to-do list is Japan and Thailand.
Be Japan. Japan's very high on our list. We heard streets are awesome to walk, very beautiful, great food, awesome culture.
I want to visit Philippines.
If you guys could hope on plan to visit any Asian country, which one would it be?
Personally, I'd love to visit Japan, specifically Osaka. I'm just completely drawn to it. It's just lovely in my opinion.
Mine would be Japan. My grandparents have gone there. Grandparents' favorite country other than the US. It's pretty and a bunch of areas, great food.
I'd say Japan, definitely.
What attracts you here?
I really like Japanese food for a start. I'm a big fan of sushi. Secondly, it's a really technologically advanced country. It looks really cool, like the trains and stuff. So I definitely want to check out Japan.
アジアの国の中でどの国に一番行きたいですかというものですが、おそらくこれは期待していた答えじゃなかったでしょう。再生数もまた散々な結果ですし、おそらく中国に行きたい、日本には行きたくない国として答えてくれることを期待していたんでしょうが、世界中の人々も今ではどこに行けば良い旅行ができるかよくわかっています。それでこの YouTuber は質問を少し変えます。中国に旅行に来た外国人たちならもっと良い答えがもらえるんじゃないかと。そして中国国内の外国人たちに 中国に来て良かった点は何かを聞きます。
What was your biggest culture shock when you first got here?
The spitting in the ground. I was on the train and old guy spitting next to my food. I smoke. I saw on the wall, if you not smoke, but then I saw people smoking everywhere.
Louder. I think maybe the fact that not many people speak English.
People doing like the and then spitting. No one does that in the Netherlands. It's not very nice. It's pretty laughable. Although you get used to it. The first time we heard that was like, huh? Why?
When we're crossing the road, the motorbikes cross by you, and we're not used to that. The smell of some things is like really hard for us because we're used to like no condiments at all.
People take pictures of me without asking, and that really pissed me off because I'm not an animal. It's not a problem. I just ask to have your passport for everything. Really check your ID a lot.
Also that I cannot communicate with my family in the applications that we use.
これもまたあまり望んだ結果ではなかったようです。しかしこの YouTuber はそれでも良心的にありのままをアップロードしました。やらせっぽい回答をする他のインタビューとは違ってですね。
How do you feel about China?
China is now number one in the world. We don't like United States. We don't like Europe. I like China, like new leader, economic, technology in the world. It's not aggressive. It's respectful with all the people. It's solidarity.
そうしている中、中国で7年間英語教師として働いていた外国人が中国について感じたことを話します。
If you ever plan on visiting China or if you ever live here, you're going to have to get used to people staring at you and people looking at you differently, especially when you're walking around the park with a camera. But I remember when I first came and I was on the metro and I would just see people staring at me. You know, in Western countries it's very rude to stare, right? But what I'd see is just the Chinese people staring at me on the metro. You know, I had been told by people that had already lived here that they're more curious at you than anything. So you'll have to get used to the stares if you ever visit China, especially if you're a foreigner. If you're black or dark-skinned, then you're probably going to notice this a lot more because Chinese people are even more curious about dark-skinned and black people as opposed to white people. When COVID happened, this is when it really started to annoy me because what they will do is they will single out foreigners because they think that we all have the virus. Now, of course, when the virus started, when the pandemic started, in their news, it would always say that all of the cases from China after the initial outbreak were from foreigners coming in. When in reality, it was actually from a lot of overseas Chinese people coming back into the country. So what this means is anytime you're at a checkpoint or you're going into a mall, less so nowadays, but the Baoans or the security people would always look at you and be like, we need to see your health code. Where did you come from? What country did you come from? The second thing that annoys me most about China is there's a lack of a queuing culture. So when I first came and I would go to a restaurant or maybe a fast food place, I would stand there and I would be waiting for my turn, you know. But little did I know that you have to basically get right up to the counter and you have to push past people. This even happens in train stations. People will just push past you trying to get to the front. It's something as a British person that really annoys me. Maybe other people don't get annoyed so much by it. But as a British person, we love queuing. It's not even that we love queuing, but we understand when there's a queue, you abide by those queue's rules. If you come to China, you'll have to get used to there being a very relaxed queuing system. And if you've ever come here or if you've ever lived here, you'll know this part extensively because it doesn't take long until you realize people love to just spit here. Now, as a generalization, and from what I've seen, it's normally the older generation, but when I say spit, they really hack up. In fact, you're just missing it here, but that guy literally just spat on the ground. And what they'll do is they go like, and then they will spit. They will like try and get a demon from inside of their chest. And, you know, in broad public, and there actually has to be signs on public transport that is like, please don't spit in public. And especially after this pandemic, you will have to get used to, and I'm sure you will definitely see someone hocking up a lung, like proper spitting onto the floor, and like, oh, it's just disgusting. It's so gross. When it comes to any public spaces, especially like the metro, normally at the metro, you'll wait for the cars to stop and the doors to open, and then you let the people off, and then the people that want to go on, go on. In China, that's different. Basically, as soon as the doors open, people are going to be... not everyone, but there's going to be some people that just jump in as the wave of people are coming out. They're going through the center, like they just have no consideration for other people. So the final thing that annoys me about China is that they can be very direct about certain things, but very indirect about others. For example, if you're overweight, or if you are different in any way, they're going to say, oh, you're fat. They're very good at pointing out physical issues with you.
Now, there are a couple reasons why Chinese people travel in groups like this. The first one is that it's much cheaper. So it's cheaper for them to join one of these tour groups and travel to other countries. Not only do they get a tour guide that shows them around, it also means that they won't have to rely on speaking English in these foreign countries. Most countries where you go traveling, they use English as like a second language for tourists. Most of these people now that are traveling outside of China, they've never had this experience before in their life. There is a large middle class now here in China, which means that traveling has become an option for a lot of these Chinese people where they wouldn't have had this option before. So they go in groups together and they stay together, which I think is one of the problems. In groups of Chinese people, when they go traveling, they rarely break away from their circle. So they lack the learning experience of being immersed in a new culture, speaking to the locals, eating local cuisine, traveling with the locals. Basically, they never branch away from this Chinese circle. So the way that they act in China, they take that to other countries. So for us, we can label their actions as rude, but they themselves may not consider these actions rude. And I think it's important to consider the history of this group of people in China. The people that are 50 plus years old, they come from a very different China than the one we see today. They come from a time where it was very difficult to live. There was famine. The country was much, much poorer than it is now. They wouldn't have had this opportunity to travel. Growing up with their local ways, perhaps defecating on the street was not considered rude as most people did it. Or spitting on the ground was not considered rude as most people did it. Or pushing in line was not considered rude as that was the way that it happened in the places that they came from. Now, there's an old saying, you can't teach old dogs new tricks. I think this sticks for these older generation of Chinese travelers. So for others, when they look at them, they would consider them rude as they don't wait in line, they're loud, they do what they want. But back in China, they actually are the same. Although in China, it's not considered rude as much as we would consider it.
中国现在真的是世界上生活最舒适的国家，没有之一。大家真的是身在福中不知福哈。像我现在在美国读书，刚才去超市买东西花了2000块左右，真的就是每周去一次超市，花1-2000块是非常非常正常的，而且都没买多少东西。然后出去吃个饭叫外卖，花1000块钱也都是很正常，而且都不是说吃的多好那种，就是普通的家常饭。然后打车5分钟的路程至少是100块起步，你要是打车去个机场，就经常花1000块钱左右了。买一瓶矿泉水30块，所以像很多中产在国内把房子卖了，移民跑到美国、欧洲，就发现根本钱不够花。哇，你们想想中国那种生活啊，你看直播10几块钱买一个很好吃的小零食，这在美国根本就是不可能的事情。而出去吃顿饭几10块钱那种小馆子已经吃得很好了，更不要说现在电商呀、快递呀、外卖这些东西有多方便。这种东西我在国外根本就不祈求的。你们知道美国最方便的购物网站亚马逊，它竟然退货都不给你上门取货的，你得开车拿着你的所有的东西到固定的站点去退货。你想，那对于没有车的人，或者说你买的很大件的，那退货真的是很不方便的。然后美国的很多农村还没有网，因为人口分散太大了，基建不太好做。就是我跟大家说，美国除了纽约，没有任何地方的生活可以跟国内媲美的。而且纽约还贵啊，纽约也不是说完全达到了国内那种便利程度，它很多店也没有。然后交通最方便的就是坐地铁，你开车也不方便。我觉得世界上真的是没有任何一个国家生活程度达到了国内那种便利程度，然后物价这么低的。像我前段时间去古巴嘛，那边其实是非常非常落后的，停留在50、60年代的一个经济水平，人均月工资啊30美金，然后它的物价竟然我发现跟国内是差不多。 然后生活也不好，就是自己的国家它再有问题，它也是自己的国家，国家强大了，我们出去也硬气。所以说啊，像我的很多朋友问我说，毕业为什么不留在美国？还有像国内的有些人看留学生回国，就说啊，你肯定是在国外留不下去才回国的。我觉得啊，真的就是不了解，总觉得国外的月亮圆，像我们这种在国外待了很多年的，可能反而对国外这个世界祛魅。所以啊，我是一毕业就坚定的，我一定马上回国的。我现在就想回这地儿啊，谁爱待谁待，反正我是绝对不待。
デリバリーがとても安いという理由が、ニューヨークより中国の方が住みやすいと主張する一番大きな理由なんですが、デリバリーが安いからって海外に住む人がいるなんて、ただただ呆れるばかりです。その国の生活水準を判断するには、所得と物価の両方を考慮しなければならないのに、デリバリーが安ければ給料も安いだろうとは考えないんでしょうか。まあどうであれ、しっかり勉強を終えて、ぜひデリバリーの安い中国に戻って、美味しい料理をたくさん食べてほしいですね。
Kínai útunk végéhez, most itt vagyunk a repülőtéren, és nem sokára repülünk Szöulba, és bejárjuk utána Koreát. Hát ezt már nagyon várjuk őszintén szólva, ugyanis nem ez volt életünk legjobb hete, amit itt Kínában eltöltöttünk.
Finoman szólva.
海外旅行 YouTuber たちがアジアに来ると、必ず訪れる国々があります。それは日本、中国、韓国なんですが、旅行 YouTuber たちの動画を見ると、この3カ国を連続で旅行して帰国するのがよく見られます。しかし一部の YouTuber は中国ばかり旅行して中国を称賛する動画を数十本アップして帰ることもあります。後に暴露した YouTuber たちの話によると、中国から断りきれないほどの大金を受け取って中国に行って動画を撮影したそうです。このハンガリー人夫婦 YouTuber は中国と日本を旅行して旅行の評価点をつけます。どこからもお金をもらわず、ただ旅行が好きな YouTuber たちです。ところがこの夫婦 YouTuber のせいで、中国人たちがめちゃくちゃ激怒しました。この夫婦 YouTuber は、中国の北京でアジア旅行をスタートしたのですが、初めから何かが気に入らない様子です。
Május 18-a van, és 2 nappal ezelőtt érkeztünk meg Kínába, de csak most vettük elő a kameránkat, és ennek több oka is van. Az egyik az, hogy Kínában 2 nagy fal van, az egyik a kínai nagyfal, a másik pedig a kínai nagy tűzfal, ami blokkol minden egyes olyan internetes szolgáltatást, vagy kommunikációs eszközt, amit mi használtunk korábban.
Nagyon durva. Nincs Gmail, nem tudunk Google-t használni, nincs YouTube, semmi sem elérhető kb. Még egy nagyon fontos dolog, amit elfelejtettünk mondani, itt Kínában le kell jelentkezni a rendőrségen, hogy milyen szálláson szállsz meg, hogy tudják, hogy hol vagy turistaként. Egy nagyon nagy hátrány az Airbnb-nél, hogy állítólag ezt magadnak kell ott intézni valahol.
És még egy dolog, hogy nagyon-nagyon jól működik és kiépítetten működik itt a megfigyelő rendszer Kínában. Olyannyira sok kamera van, hogy egészen elképesztő. Konkrétan 5 méterenként van az utcán is kamera. Rámegyünk arra, hogy kifizetjük készpénzzel, majd pedig kiad egy ilyet a gép, amire még nem jöttünk rá, hogy micsoda. Itt valami személyigazolványt, vagy valami ilyesmi dolgot kér.
今度は北京で地下鉄に乗って移動しようとしたのですが、現地の人たちが道を間違って教えたせいで、変な場所に行ってしまい、予定が狂ってしまいました。不機嫌そうです。そこでタクシーアプリでタクシーを呼んだのですが、タクシーは彼らを見ると乗車拒否して逃げ、道端で止めようとした空車のタクシーも彼らを避けて素通りしていきます。
Sem áll meg nekünk, nem tudjuk, hogy miért, lehet, hogy azért, mert fehérek vagyunk. Igazság szerint mindegyik üres volt. Applikáción keresztül rendeltünk taxikat, de mindegyik vagy kinyomja, vagy pedig egy helyben átsorog, ugye mutatja, hogy hol van az autó éppen. Azok sem vettek fel minket, szegény csávóhoz ide beültünk. Ez van, nagyon nehézkes itt Kínában létezni. Elég gázos, úgyhogy most reméljük, hogy ő elvisz minket a megbeszélt helyre. Lassan kifutunk az időből, de mi a...
Kínai útunk végéhez, most itt vagyunk a repülőtéren, és nem sokára repülünk Szöulba, és bejárjuk utána Koreát. Hát ezt már nagyon várjuk őszintén szólva, ugyanis nem ez volt életünk legjobb hete, amit itt Kínában eltöltöttünk.
Finoman szólva, amikor benéztünk így a városba egy kicsit, akkor otthon hagytuk a maszkunkat, és...
A másik pedig az, hogy azt is muszáj megemlíteni, hogy mi csak Pekinget jártuk be, azt is egy hétig. Kína nyilvánvalóan óriási, úgyhogy még nagyon sok látnivaló lehet itt.
Amire nem vagyunk annyira kíváncsiak, ezt elmondhatjuk. nem vágyunk vissza ide az országba. Ezt valahol tudtuk is, és készültünk is egyébként erre. Mik azok a dolgok, amik nem tetszettek nekünk Kínában?
Hát nekem ami az legelőször eszembe jut, az az emberek viselkedése. Mint ahogy mondtuk, elfogadóak vagyunk, vagyis így tökre próbálkozunk, de ettől függetlenül van, ami nem tetszik, amivel nem tudunk azonosulni, és ez a böfögés, köpködés, szürcsölés, csámcsogás, ezzel nem tudtam, én legalábbis, engem ez nagyon...
Igen, sajnos ezek a kulturális különbségek, ezek olyan fokúak itt, hogy ezt nagyon nehéz befogadni. Ez van, most megyünk Koreába, egy nyitottabb világ felé.
Nem hinném, hogy lesz még egy ilyen nehéz ország amúgy.
Ebben biztos vagyok.
とにかく苦労して中国旅行を終え、彼らは中国旅行に評価点をつけます。そして次の旅行先に向かおうとしたのですが、そう中国に到着するや否や、例の病気にかかってしまい、結局最悪の旅行だったとコメントします。この動画を見た中国人たちはこう言います。日本が彼らに金を渡して中国を貶めて、日本だけを称賛させたんだ。そうでなければ我が大国中国では、あんなに不幸そうなのに、日本では天国に来たかのように、称賛ばかりするのが、彼らの目には理解できなかったんですね。とにかく彼らはすでに中国でアジアに、失望した状態で日本での旅行が始まります。
Ugyanis már nem tudtunk bemenni, viszont kettőt le tudtunk foglalni 6 óra 30 percre, most van 3 óránk, és eljöttünk.
És hát akinek nincs pénze magánsóra, ez egy nagyon jó alternatíva.
Így
teljes
van,
betekintést kaptunk.
Testközelből láthattunk egy májkót táncolni.
És nagyon kis kedves volt.
Kettő előadást tartott, és utána kérdéseket lehetett neki feltenni. Egyébként nagyon szép volt a lány, tehát feltűnően szép, ugye nagyon sok májkót láttunk, és talán ő volt szerintem a legszebb.
Igen.
Fölfele mennek nem látszódik, de a torikapuk hátulján van egy írás, ami az adományozó nevét tünteti fel. Ezt a kaput 2015. júniusában adományozta Takeyuki, a mögötte láthatót pedig szintén Takeyuki adományozta 2013. augusztusában.
中国ではワイキガスと人々がペッペッとタンを吐く音ばかり聞いていたのに、日本の自然と静けさに感嘆した彼らはただ驚くばかりです。
Mutatnám a japán írásjeleimet. Nem a legprofibb, tudom, de azt jelenti, hogy biztonságos utat kíván.
Ebédelni, méghozzá egy sushizót választottunk, ugyanis mind a ketten imádjuk. Itt futószalagon jönnek a sushik, ilyenben már ültünk egyébként Oszakában, nagyon tetszett, úgyhogy biztos ez a mostani is nagyon jó lesz.
És frissen készítik, az már bezárt, úgyhogy kénytelenek voltunk egy másik helyet választani, de ő lenne a mochi, ez egy japán édesség, tulajdonképpen rizslisztből készül, ilyen nagyon nyúlós és ruganyos az állaga, vörös babpasztával van töltve, és szójababrízbe van forgatva.
Jó.
És nagyon pozitívan látunk mindent. Ez egy gyönyörű ország, és különösen Kyoto az a hely, ami hozzánk nagyon közel került, és a kedvenc városunká vált ezáltal. Úgyhogy nem tudjuk még, hogy hogyan fogjuk pontozni Japánt, de eléggé elő van most, és hogyha ide jöttök, akkor ki ne hagyjátok Kyotót, mert fantasztikus az egész ősisége a városnak, a tisztasága, kedves emberek.
Nem tudunk rá rosszat.
Az 1000 millió templom, a misztikusság, ami átjárja, és szerintem
kedvesek, nem tudom,
segítőkészek, normálisak, fegyelmezettek, már egy kicsit túl.
Egy picit, igen, beszengős, mert hogy úgy annyira figyelnek a környezetükre. Meg
említsünk, hogy például a buszsofőr felszállásnál, leszállásnál egyenként megköszöni mindenkinek, hogy vele utazott.
Meg szól, ha elindul, bemondja a mikrofonba.
Sőt, olyanra is volt példa, hogy leszállt a buszsofőr.
Hogy kérdeztünk valamit, és úgy félsz kérdezni, mert hogy bunkon válaszol. Nekem velem ez Magyarországon többször előfordult, és itt egyáltalán nem. Sőt, hogyha útbaigazítást kérsz, akkor...
Függvényében pontoztuk is.
És 9,3 pontot adunk mi most Japánra.
Ami azt jelenti, hogy a top 1 ország lett, és azért lett top 1.
彼らの動画を見た中国のネットユーザーたちは激怒します。 俺は中国の動画も日本の動画も全部見たけど、中国の動画以外は全部金もらって撮ったのがバレバレなんだけど、お前らもそう思うだろう。そうだよ。我が大国中国のような大きなビルがない場所に行ったらちょっと違和感があったんだろうね。俺たちはあんな国々みたいに金を出して誰かを呼んで演技させる必要ないよ。すでに世界が俺たちが最高だって知ってるんだから。正直に言おう、俺たちは日本みたいに人に接するとき親切に接しないのは事実じゃないか。だからあの人たちは当然不親切に感じるんだよ。認めることは認めようぜ。日本や韓国みたいな国はアメリカの属国じゃないか。だから当然だよ。俺たちは大国なんだから。日本と韓国は事実上アメリカの植民地みたいなもんだから。アメリカや西洋の立場からすれば単に自分たちの言うことをよく聞く国々なんだよ。だから自分たちのペットを可愛がるみたいに好むのも不思議じゃないだろう。でも中国は全く違う。アメリカをはじめとする西側諸国は中国をライバルやほとんど敵国として見ているから、ずっと傷つけて制限してありとあらゆる方法で貶めようとするじゃないか。そうしているうちにその国の人々もそのメディアにずっとさらされると中国について否定的に考えるのは当然なんだよ。でも正直今の俺たちはそんなの別に気にもしてない。誰が何と言おうと中国の発展を止められる人間なんて誰もいないんだから。もともと陰に隠れて陰口を叩いて人の悪口を言うのは小物がすることじゃないか。蛇やネズミが群がっているようなもんだよ。むしろ俺たちを貶めれば貶めるほど自分たちがどれだけ卑劣かさらに露呈するだけだよ。単に金がなくて中国がつまらなかっただけじゃないの。金がねえならバングラデシュとかそういうところに行って旅行しろよ。ところが少なくともこの YouTuber たちが日本から金をもらったのなら動画に日本語字幕は愚か英語字幕でもあるはずなのに、そんな字幕すらなくハンガリー語だけなんです。かといって彼らがそんなに有名な旅行 YouTuber でもないのに、おそらく今まで彼らが記録してきた全チャンネルの再生回数より中国人たちが関心を持ってくれたことで増えた再生回数の方が多いでしょうから、この YouTuber たちにとっては最悪の旅行が最悪だけでは終わらなかったことになったようです。それでも中国には相変わらず数多くの外国人 YouTuber たちが金をもらって中国を宣伝してくれるんだから、それでいいんじゃない。
We love a good queue in Britain. We invented queuing, but this is on another level. There's hardly any order or management going on here. Couldn't record what just happened because it was so chaotic. As soon as the bus came and the doors opened, everyone in this entire queue rushed onto it like they were getting away from a tsunami or something. People were literally climbing over each other to get into this bus. I think quite a few of them were actually laughing, so maybe they find it kind of funny, but yeah.To us, it's a little bit more than we bargained for. But
I don't know what to say. I feel a bit deflated. Over the whole trip, 3.5 weeks in China, I can't help but feel actually a little bit upset because I'm finding it really hard to appreciate what's on the other side of the fence because I kind of can't even barely see it. People everywhere pushing me. There's speakers going off in my ear really loud. It's just completely taken it away.
But it was definitely the most disappointing for sure.
Being brutally honest, it was the worst paid experience we've ever had.
この男性は中国で10年間暮らした後、もう限界だと感じて母国に戻ってきました。10年もの間、夢を追いかけて必死に生きてきたけれど、もうこれ以上は耐えられないと語っています。
One of the cultural differences that people struggle with a lot is the idea in China that you can just stare at people, invade their personal space, and even pick up items out of their shopping trolley. I've experienced all of these things, and when I was living in China,families would just stare at me in the supermarket. They would say, oh, this is what foreigners eat. Look, they love bread and milk. And they would come and pick stuff out of my shopping cart and stuff like that. So there are many things which are very different in China, like the concept of personal space, like the concept of loud noise. Chinese people shout very loudly. They're boisterous. They will bring music into a sauna like this guy was doing here the other day, a Chinese guy who I'm friendly with, but he just brings his iPad in and puts it in the sauna and is blasting out Chinese classical music in the middle of a sauna where there's lots of people. And this is kind of one of the big reasons why I don't anymore, is the annoying habits of Chinese people. And this is tied into the point about cultural differences, but it can just be quite wearing. I was there for 10 years and it just starts to wear on your nerves when people are extremely loud, they spit,They let their kids pee in trash cans or on the street. They don't queue, there's pushing. You know, old grannies will barge you out of the way at a roadside food stall. it's just a bit basic. Some of the behavior, some of the habits, the constant clouds of smoke, all of these things have improved in recent years. But there are still a lot of people that haven't been educated because China is largely a rural country.
このカップルは旅行系 YouTuber です。中国を訪れて感じたことを素直に伝えているんですが、彼らが向かったのは張家界という有名な観光地。
God. There were a lot of people here, like thousands, in this queue that we're in.
到着してすぐ、ものすごい人混みに遭遇します。
I knew it was going to be busy, but I didn't know it was going to be this fast. I'm actually concerned of how long we're going to be in this queue, you know.
何時間も並んでも列の終わりが見えません。
Oh, I thought this was it. I thought we were at the entrance to it, but we've still got an entire corridor to go somehow in a mountain. And look guys, we get that this is a tourist hotspot. It's the most populous country on earth. We never expected it to be quiet or a deserted national park. But at the same time, it is a national park, not a theme park, so they should be limiting the number of tickets that they sell on a daily basis, and they're clearly not doing that. It's now 12:45, and we've seen nothing except for some monkeys.
You know, if you're watching this hoping to come here one day, we have to show you what it is really like. Like, this is honestly what it's like, so just be prepared. Bring your snacks and your water, because you're going to need them.
観光地へのエレベーターはたった3機。なのに入場券は無制限に販売するので、遅く着いた人は登ることさえできず、10時間並んだ末に何もできずに帰ることもあるとか。
It's even worse than the first bus queue. We love a good queue in Britain. We invented queuing, but this is on another level. There's hardly any order or management going on. Look at it. Where else can you see this in the world? Having said that, the number of people here does make it incredibly difficult to fully take in the view and enjoy it.
I don't know what to say. I feel a bit deflated. Out of the whole trip, 3.5 weeks in China, this day was the day I was looking forward to the most. I can't help but feel actually a little bit upset because I'm finding it really hard to appreciate what's on the other side of the fence because I kind of can't even barely see it. People everywhere and pushing me. There's speakers going off in my ear really loud. It's just completely taken it away. So this exact spot here is the spot that I saw on Pinterest that made me want to go here desperately. And this is the reality.
撮影スポットでは割り込みが多くて、結局1時間半待ってようやく1枚撮れました。
Couldn't record what just happened because it was so chaotic. As soon as the bus came and the doors opened, everyone in this entire queue rushed onto it like they were getting away from a tsunami or something. People were literally climbing over each other to get into this bus. I think quite a few of them were actually laughing. So maybe they find it kind of funny, but yeah, to us it's a little bit more than we bargained for, but it was definitely the most disappointing for sure.
Being brutally honest, it was the worst paid experience we've ever had.
この男性は中国で12年間暮らしているジャーナリストです。中国での生活で感じたことを包み隠さず話しています。
Differences here in China, which are freedom of speech and censorship on the internet. Because I make videos about China and I live in China, I'm a little bit more concerned about what I say on camera. Also, because I use the internet every day, just like everyone else, internet censorship is noticeable. Many sites are blocked and you have to use a VPN to access, but they are much stricter on freedom of speech, protests, and internet censorship. I had actually never seen Chinese media in the US when I was living there. I had never heard of CCTV, Xinhua, Global Times, or any other Chinese media before moving to China. What I had heard was that there is no freedom of speech in China in that everything is censored here. Unfortunately, this is kind of true. When I worked in media here, I had to run everything by a censor and even requested a new censor because the one I had was super strict. It seems that they don't really want foreigners anymore. This has gotten really bad over the last 3 years because the media has turned the population against foreigners. Any reports about local outbreaks worded the news to make it seem like foreigners were to blame for the issue. They didn't always clearly explain that the person was a Chinese returning from overseas.
一方、日本に長く住む外国人たちの反応は全く違います。日本在住のアメリカ人たちは、なぜ全てを手放して日本に移住したのかを語るんですが。
What kept you here in Japan? The overwhelming peace and happiness. It's you know the feeling. Like every time anyone I know who's traveled here, they're like, I have to come back. They just want to come back again. They don't even want to go to new places. They're like, I gotta go back to Japan. It's amazing. Even the food, like even when you think you're eating healthy, it's so sad. You'll go out of your way to buy something healthy. And you realize it's not healthy at all. It's like loaded with sugar and all these strange chemicals that you can't even read.
I mean, the politeness, the attention to detail here in Japan is really good. The care for other people. the kizukae, kind of what the Japanese call, that's what makes it really comfortable for me. I consider myself an Oreo. Black on the outside, Japanese on the inside.
I can be walking home from my local station at any time of night and I feel zero fear. Like in America, I always have that in the back of my mind, that fear. I have to be looking around. But I can be walking home, I can be a little tipsy, sleepy, whatever.
So why is it that healthcare is way cheaper in Japan than it is in the US?
Do you know the actual reason?
Yeah, they have socialized medicine, right?
Do you know why they have socialized medicine?
Tell me.
Because America forced them to do it after World War II.
Really?
And yet America doesn't have it. It's quite interesting, actually.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.